Hey, Chicago, what do you say? It's the CHGO Cubs Postgame show presented by PointsBet. Use that promo code CHGO when you sign up to get 2 risk-free bets up to $2,000. Luke Stuckmeyer here with Cody Del Mendo, Corey Friedman, Ryan Herrera. The Cubs come up, as David Ross told us, 2 runs short against the San Francisco Giants. The winning streak is over, and we made it. We made it. We finished the night. We're making it through the night. You know, I don't have a whole lot, really, honestly, to say about this game. It was all about the David Ross meme that hit Twitter afterwards. Let's be honest. It was GIFs and memes for 3 hours of David Ross flashing the double bird. That was the highlight of the night.
I was going to say, when you watching a game where the Cubs get no hit for, what was it, 6 innings or something like that,
6 full,
is not super pleasant. It's the West Coast. A lot of people staying up later than they normally would. But we got to, I mean, we're going to use that meme for a long time. So was it worth it? I would say yes.
I've already used it like 7 times.
Yeah, Corey's going full on meme right now.
I mean, as soon as I saw people tweeting about it, I'm like, well, you know, Brendan heads into the pitch lab. I have to head into the meme lab. I'm like, I have a responsibility to people to do something with this.
Admittedly, I missed like the first inning or 2. Like I was paying attention, but I wasn't. But like the moment I saw David Ross's middle fingers go up on the broadcast, I was like, oh, please God, let this land on the internet. And then it did. And I was like,
as soon as you saw it, you knew it was going to.
Oh yeah. But I actually went to like try to figure out how I could get it without actually taking a picture of it through my TV. And I don't have the skill that Corey does. But yeah. Thank God for the internet.
So, you know, that's what I was debating. First of all, I probably saw 30 to 40 people post something of it. You know, like just my Twitter feed was just a scrolling read of double barrel fingers from David Bird, you know, birds in the sky, let them fly. The question is, what forced it? Like, what was said to him? Who was he flipping the double birds to? That's the real story. If there's a reporter at that game, I want to know that question. I want that answered. What was it? I said it was most likely a fan yelled something like, hey, why aren't you playing Hayward? That would have given a double barrel probably, right? Like, how many more days till the trade deadline? That would draw another double barrel from David Ross. You're nothing without Lester. Double barrel from David Ross. Anything you could think of that might have
me in the crowd.
What do you guys think? What could have been said that would have caused him to flip 2 birds out there?
Well, let's go through the conspiracy theory, and then I will say on why I actually think he did it.
All right.
What's the conspiracy theory?
Well, okay, so I saw you guys know that Cubs Zone Twitter account, right? I saw whoever runs that account tweet an old video where David Ross did that and did it straight at someone in the dugout, like I guess last year. I think it was last year. So I think it's like an inside joke.
I think it was Matt Duffy.
Yeah, something like that.
I do remember that.
So
Tommy
yeah,
LaStella? Maybe Tommy LaStella.
So I don't know if it's like I don't think he did it to like in like a mean way. I think it really is just like a joke. He just flips people off.
Yeah, who's the most likely candidate over there? You got LaStella. He could be doing it too. He could be doing it to Jock Peterson.
Yeah,
I mean, Peterson. He would have. I'm not looking at it, but he would have played with Gabe Kapler, right? In Boston, maybe at some point. Could be Gabe
Kapler.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go Tommy LaStella.
That
like
seems
people
right.
like to pick on Tommy LaStella. Ross would know him. I bet
I gotta
that's it.
see. So it happened. Taylor was doing a report like before the inning started. So the broadcast had actually come back early, which I guess is we're all lucky that they did, because otherwise they wouldn't have been filming this. And so like the Cubs are getting ready to bat. So the Giants would have been in the field, and it would have been somebody milling around still in the Giants dugout. So when they archive the game, I'll check the MLB TV, the other feed, and see if they were showing something else before that inning started, the top of the second.
That's the type of investigative work we need right
Yeah.
there.
If
That's
we can
what we're
crack the
looking for.
case. Yeah.
Well, they also had like a little delay on the field or something like that too, wasn't there? I don't know. I just remember
That
seeing
might have
on
been
game
why they
day.
were, delayed.
Yeah, so that's why it kind of just went right to David Ross and just the two double birds. I saw someone tweet out. I thought this was hilarious. This is like every 13-year-old kid when they walk past their best friend's classroom. I don't remember who tweeted it, but I'm like, yes, that was all of us at 13 years old in school.
Yeah,
No doubt about it.
undoubtedly.
I said in our Slack channel, I think I see Paul's on the chat. I figure Paul just yelled, "Herb is your dad," and that was the reaction was the double barrel.
Oh, I was very quick to be, me when Cardinals fans tell me Yadi Molina is a first ballot Hall of Famer. I was very quick to it's blowing up right now. I've had some Cardinal fans in my mentions tonight. It's it's been a very, very, very well good night on Twitter for me.
So other than that
That's the highlight of the
magical
game.
moment in live television, they come along every once in a while. It's what makes live television great. The other story is that Justin Steele got screwed.
Yeah.
I mean, poor Justin Steele goes out there and he takes a loss after giving up 4 unearned runs. And I mean, it was like, I don't know. I still don't know what happened to Patrick Wisdom. He lost one in the fog. Is that what happened? Like, he deserved so much better than his line, which was 3 2/3, no earned runs, 4 runs, 6 strikeouts.
How'd
He
that
didn't pitch poorly.
Right. How'd that inning go? The air from Wisdom. Then there was like an infield hit right down the third base line, and then a hit by pitch.
Yeah, which was actually helping him at one point.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Sox legend, your main Mercedes, comes up and hits a bloop single that scores 2. Like, I don't know. It is what it is. I think this is one
you
where
said, Ryan, if Velasquez in center was kind of positioned
a
little
He was
weird,
positioned
not
more into
off
right
center.
center.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was more right center. I'm like, even if he was playing straight up, like maybe he has, because it didn't fall that far away from him.
No.
I don't know what the data says, so I was kind of surprised to see him positioned where he was against a right-handed hitter. So maybe I feel like we would kind of say, against a right-handed hitter, got center fielder's position more to left center. He wasn't. He was on the other side of the base, and obviously that fell in a position where like people were saying, he should have dove for it. I don't know that a dive would have gotten him there. It looked from our angle, it looked like he probably wouldn't have caught it regardless. So, it was just a lot of bad, tough luck for Justin, who first inning he was painting the edges. He didn't throw a single ball in the middle of the plate, which he was doing so well the first inning. And then just a lot of tough luck from there. It's funny because we talked about on the pregame show how he kind of has that one inning sometimes where he's working harder, and then that ends up with him not going deeper in the game. This one was through no fault of his own.
Yeah,
because it's a lot of
4
things
runs,
outside of his own control.
0 earned. I mean, yeah,
a lot of things out of his control.
I got what I wanted though that we talked about in pregame. He has a sub-4 ERA. It was a weird path to get there, but Justin Steele and Keegan Thompson. Keegan's got a 3.16 ERA. Justin has a 3.86 ERA. That's cool. Homegrown guys, that's cool.
And not just that, I don't think Steele had a bad outing. It was just kind of misfortune and weird things that happened to him. But Ullman came in. Before we get to him, I would say Brandon Hughes, when I see Brandon Hughes come into a game, I feel pretty confident, almost as confident as Efros coming in at this point. And, geez, I don't know. They might have found another guy. We talked about it a lot in the preseason. Cody would always say, these guys can develop bullpens. And I think the bullpen is the hardest part of a team to find a lot of times. Obviously you got to go find stars, but a bullpen can be great one year and horrible the next year. And they seem to turn it over and find guys. I hope they found a group of young guys that can turn out to be a consistent bullpen for some time. And frankly, you hope that Cody Hoyer and some other guys become pieces of that moving forward too. I mentioned Alzolay in the pregame show. If he's not a starter, is he a bullpen guy? They do have some young arms that are interesting in the bullpen, guys that you didn't even know about coming into this season. And it was like a showcase of them tonight. Hughes, Ullman, Chris Martin, trade value up. Cody got out of it. 30 strikeouts.
Allowed 2 hits, then struck out the side.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, man. Like I know I've been wrong about a lot of things. Like Ryan just loves to let everyone know that I'm wrong about a lot of things, but I have been right about the bullpen. Like I said that the Cubs were just going to throw some guys out there and figure it out. And what have they done all year? They threw some guys out there and figured it out outside of Michael Givens and Chris Martin and David Robertson, which we all knew they were going to get traded anyway. Ullman coming in, Brandon Hughes used to be an outfielder. I mean, it's just, if there's anything that I have confidence in going into next year is that the bullpen's going to be fine. And again, I'll say it. I've said it 1,000 times. Like, I wish we just had this infrastructure on pitching back in 2018. So it's just,
Cody,
it is what it is.
Right, but it's not like it was a hot take. But I'll give it to you. You were
Just
right.
let me have it, Ryan. Just let me have it. You love to point out all the times I'm wrong. So just let me have my one, okay?
I have to troll you. Like that's my thing.
I get it.
Corey trolls Brendan. I have to troll you. And then Luke's just here to keep the peace.
I'm not going to.
Shouldn't I be the one trolling? I'm like 6 years older than this kid.
When Cody shows pythons like that, I don't make any comments. I just kind of step back and let it happen. Like, whatever, man. I don't argue with him at all. If he wants me to say Yachty's not a first ballot Hall of Famer, I'll say it as many times as he wants. Just don't hurt me with the pythons. Keep him back in that square in the top left corner of the screen.
Luke, going to look up troll in the dictionary. There you go.
Look up troll. I know what a troll is. Let's see what else we have in the game. I mean, Alex Wood. I guess he was good. Was he that good, or were the Cubs that bad at hitting? Like a little bit of misfortune. They looked totally clueless on a few swings. I'd say it had a really bad night. Yeah. We won't do who you got just quite yet.
Corey did it again.
Listen,
man.
I warned everybody. Like, it just is what it is. Yeah, I'll pick Jan Gomes or something next time.
What if you just pick someone that's like on the bench, like someone that might get in for like a pinch hit later in the game, or a reliever that may or may not.
Then they'll come up in the 9th inning with the game on the line and strike out. I can't win. I really can't. I got 2 months, or I'm gonna go over on our first season here.
Yeah, I mean, he did make some guys look bad. I as I saw him on the mound, I kept thinking, first of all, it was late. My mind was getting confused. I'm like, all right, Wood, Alex, Wood. And then I kept seeing VR, and I would get like chills down my back that VR was in the game, and I was having flashbacks, and I thought I'd fallen asleep. Too many strange names going on in this game. It was just, let's be honest, the game means nothing. It means nothing. We're just waiting for the trade deadline. And then I saw that Tyler Naquin's going to the Mets.
Yep.
Yeah.
Making a trade with the Mets. So there's
Tyler Naquin's the guy that like robs everyone of hits, right? Like he's the one that has made like 12 spectacular catches
in the World Series
this year.
Yeah, well, and it sounds like Gamble might be traded too, they think, from the Pirates, and he's made some catches against
Send him to the AL, please. That guy's a Cubs killer.
All the Cub killers are leaving the division.
God. Ben Gamble sucks at baseball, except when he plays at Cubs. And who's the one on the Brewers? There's one on the Brewers too. He sucks at baseball so bad, but he plays well against the Cubs.
You have to find that out for
I'll
us.
have to think of that one up.
Do some research.
What do you guys...
I did do some research. Like it was like the last time they played Milwaukee. I think I actually did the research and looked it up. And like Jace Peterson. Jace Peterson's numbers against the Cubs are insane. And then you look at his career numbers, and you're like, this guy stinks at baseball. But he's a Hall of Famer against the Cubs. So
What do you think about what Isaac's saying that Wilson's out of sorts? Assume it's the rumors, but he looks bad. David Snyder kind of saying the same thing on the chat. Wilson Hap, a little let down after the farewell. I mean, I don't think there's any question that Wilson has said it's starting to finally get to him. And you knew it would at some point this season. I don't expect him to play very well until he gets traded now. I'd be surprised if he has another good game in a Cubs uniform.
Yeah, well, David Ross
didn't Ian Happ had 2 hits, didn't he? I thought Ian Happ had 2
Hap
hits.
had a couple
had
hits,
2.
but
Yeah.
Contreras wasn't.
Yeah.
I was gonna say Ross said, after I think it was Monday's game that he could tell Nick Wilson was getting kind of distracted out there, as much as he was able to separate, all the rumors and the personal stuff from just his play and how well he's done all year. That I know Ross said he could tell Monday that he was distracted out there and like kind of had every right to be. Wilson kind of talked about how everything's hitting him, so. Maybe that's that as we get 4 days now from the trade deadline. Maybe that's it. And maybe as soon as August 2nd is gone, whether Wilson's here or on another team, like once it's over with, then he can kind of move on and get back to focusing on baseball. But maybe just a little bit of the mental side of the business is starting to take a little toll on him.
I still think it's really affecting trade value. Like if fans want to get worried about that, like I don't think it is. Like even like Chris Martin striking out the side tonight, like I don't think it changes his trade value. I just like to send the tweets because they're fun. But like, at this point, it's like, how much do you need this guy? How much are you willing to give up and get it done if you're gonna do it? Like, but yeah, I feel like it's definitely getting to Wilson, and it sucks. And I don't know. I got nothing for you except for that. That's just what the league is. I mean, that's just what it is.
He's an emotional guy. We know that. And I think too, like, we've talked before about obviously the benefit of having the DH and letting him get off his legs every now and again. I think in a time like this, it may be, kind of the opposite effect. I think being back there and catching might distract him a little bit more. It's, obviously I'm just speculating, but, you just sort of sit there, wait for your at-bats. Like, I'm sure it allows you to kind of just sit there and think about all of that and everything that's weighing on you. So instead of calling pitches and thinking about what Justin Steele's doing and how to calm him down and all that other stuff.
I said, though, in pregame, I don't want to see Contreras catch another game in a Cubs uniform.
Oh, yeah.
The injury possibilities are way greater when he's playing catcher than if he's just DHing or not in the lineup at all. So I've given up hope that they're going to throw some last-ditch effort to sign him and be like, hey, you know what? We changed our mind. Here's $60 million. Want to take it? Sure. It's not happening. They're trading him. So get on with it. Don't play him or DH him. That's the only thing that you can accept at this point. Now the pitchers are a little more difficult because I think teams want to see them. Like a team would know what they're getting in Wilson Contreras at this point, but someone like, Chris Martin, I think teams do want to see recent stuff from guys on the mound to see what their most recent outings and clock them and all those things. They want their Brendan to come in and break it all down for them. They want graphs with heat maps. And what was he saying about the release point for Ullman tonight? He was excited. I
think it's the lowest release point in baseball or something like that for a breaking ball.
Yeah, because he's excited.
Luke, Brendan added the video for you, because
I saw it. He's like, oh, my back.
I saw it. I still didn't understand it.
Let's add some video.
No, the heat maps are the worst. Those are the ones I don't even know what it is.
I guess what I would like to know is like, how does that benefit the pitcher? Is like, does his release point that low? Like, how's that look to the batter? I guess in a way make it harder for that hitter to get a hit or make contact.
I think for Ullman, it's just that it's unique. And,
okay.
Sometimes a different look, a different perspective, different look, can be beneficial.
I got you. Well, he was nice. It was kind of like an overlooked story, at least in my eyes. I didn't realize it until after Brandon Hughes came in, and I was like, "Who just pitched the last couple innings?" Oh, it was Ullman, and he was actually okay. So again, just I'm sure he's going to get a lot more opportunities after these other bullpen guys are out of here. So it'd be interesting to see how he does the rest of the year.
Cody,
Yeah, I mean,
oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say he's like guys like him, Brandon Hughes obviously has been up for a while. Rowick's gonna still be there. Scott Efra's still gonna be there, and probably be a couple guys that come up from AAA. Just some of the names that you've been heard thrown around that just haven't, the roster spots haven't opened up. But like we said earlier, like the Cubs are doing well with some of these bullpen guys. So as soon as some of these other guys start getting extended looks in September or whenever, August, September, whenever it is, you want to see more performances like the one Ullman had today. It was 2 1/3. I don't know. I think it was 2 1/3 clean innings, like 2 strikeouts. It wasn't like it wasn't like the most impressive thing I've ever seen, but it was like he did good work and got them through a couple of innings that Justin Steele should have been out there for, but obviously the pitch count got up too high. Ullman comes out of the pen in a tough spot and gets out of that, and then keeps the Giants at bay after that. So you kind of just want to see once some of these other young arms in the system come up that they can kind of have similar success where they're thrown into different situations and are able to pitch out of them.
Yeah. Mike Bruce in the
how
comments.
about that?
From Costa Rica. Started listening to the podcast recently. First time on a live. Greetings from Costa Rica.
Welcome.
Pretty sweet.
Shout out. Yeah. I bet
All
it's really
around the
nice
world.
there too.
Yeah. Cody, how'd your bets do today?
Oh God, I'm ice cold. Okay, first off,
Remember,
Nico Horner.
I'm
Nico Horner
66% success
Nico
rate.
Horner was robbed twice tonight. First at bat, and then he hit a
Yeah.
liner that went right to whoever the hell's playing second. I think it was Flores again. So yeah, my bet lost.
It was,
tonight.
yeah.
Brutal. It is what it is. That's gambling though, right, guys?
It is. That's why it's called wagering.
Yeah. So made him over on points bet. I think I might have to take a break tomorrow. It's just been a bad week. So, but either whether it's Saturday, Sunday, Monday, whatever, I'm gonna get back on the horse. I'm gonna log into my favorite app, PointsBet. You can too. All you got to do is download the PointsBet app and register your account. Use code CHGO when you sign up, and if you do that right now, you get 2 risk-free bets up to $2,000. But that's not it. If you make a $50 or more first-time deposit, you receive a free CHGO membership, which unlocks all of our web content. You even get a free shirt of your choice from the CHGO locker. That's $2,000 in free bets, a free CHGO membership, and a free T-shirt from the CHGO locker, all for making more than a $50 first-time deposit at PointsBet. If you have any questions, you can email pointsbet@allchgo.com, and we'll help you out. Your home for live in-play betting just got even better. See an edge in the game you're watching. Is your favorite team prime for a comeback? Anyone live bet the Cubs tonight just to add on to the pain that we already have? I sure as hell hope not. Don't just watch the game, bet along with it live. More live betting, more live markets, and faster live cash outs. Follow along with your bets the moment they hit and stay in the live action all game long. Download the PointsBet app right now and use promo code CHGO. So what are you waiting for? It's time to elevate your live betting game. Once the game starts, don't just bet, live your bet life with PointsBet. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER for crisis counseling and referral services.
Our next partner has a product I use literally every day. I, started it because I didn't have time, wanted a better gut health, more energy, optimized immune system. Now I've been on it for a couple months and I love it. It doesn't taste super healthy. It's kind of mild. It's tropical. I look forward to taking it in the morning. I just had my annual physical, as you guys know, which everybody should go and have that done every year. Get a physical. It's like the smartest thing you can do. And my doctor looked at me and said, "What are you doing? What's going on in your life that has you in such spectacular shape?" And I said, "Doc, I'm on AG1." And he goes, "Well, that makes sense. You're absorbing 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole food source superfoods, probiotics, and adaptogens to help start your day right. A special blend of ingredients supporting your gut health, nervous system, immune system, your energy, recovery, focus, aging, all those things. I get a noticeable boost of energy, so I take it first thing in the morning on an empty stomach. It's lifestyle friendly, whether you're keto, paleo, vegan, gluten-free, dairy-free, you're all good with AG1. Investing in all-in-one nutritional insurance for less than $3 a day. It comes recommended by professional athletes, more than 7,000 five-star reviews. So right now, reclaim your health and arm your immune system with convenient daily nutrition. Just 1 scoop and a cup of water every day. That's it. No need for a million different pills and supplements to look out for your health. And to make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs for your first purchase. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/CHGO Cubs. Again, athleticgreens.com/CHGO Cubs. Take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance. I just realized
Marcus.
we are into Friday, by the way. Happy morning to everybody out there. That's
Happy morning.
Good morning.
the West Coast game. But I can do things like that because I take my AG1 in the morning, and that boost carries on over all the way into the early morning hours of the next day. Truth be told.
Marcus is in the comments. I think he's said before, he's always on our shows. I'm pretty sure he lives out in San Francisco. I think he was at tonight's game. He says heading home, watching us on his iPhone. So
On a ferry boat.
on a ferry boat. Yeah. So
Man, we got Costa Rica. We got guys watching
out in
ferry
Cali.
boat. Joel wants to know about colonoscopies. I can tell you all about it later, some other time.
It's a bonus episode.
Joel was also telling us. Joel also said earlier in the show, like in the comments, that he had a cigarette for the first time in his life tonight because of the Cubs. And I'm thinking is how did it take you this long? Like, I would have started if I was into that. I would have started doing that years ago.
Yeah. Well, and honestly, Cody, when you have the ear pods in, right?
Yeah, AirPods.
And it's so small on my screen. Sometimes it looks like you have cigarettes tucked behind your ears. Yeah, it looks like you just got a heater here and you got a smoke right there.
Yeah,
like in the 1950s. Just
you roll them up in your sleeves if you had any, but you're not
leather
showing,
jackets.
Yeah,
Leather jackets, greased hair.
yeah. I need to get a little bit more sweaty.
Yeah, exactly.
And grungy.
How about the roller coaster for Patrick Wisdom tonight? Like, Cody had the stock trade value things going up and down. It was like a Rocky Mountain region. It was like down, it was up, it was down, it was up. I mean, the air was horrible. And then he hits the home run, which was, how did they ever think that was fan interference? How did they spend that long? That was burning me up more than anything during this game, is that they spent like 5 minutes trying to decide if the fan touched it. I was like, let's go already. Everybody can see the guy didn't touch it. Let's just move on. They're not going to score another run.
Yeah, I think they even made a comment on the broadcast too. That's like, why is this taking so long? So
it really was kind of crazy. Now we got Matthew watching from Arizona, Connor from Toronto,
International.
For no particular
reason. He's probably high like Paul or Ravi. I mean, yeah.
Don't let Paul hear you say that.
Yeah,
He'll come after you.
You guys been to Toronto?
I have.
Never.
I've been there. Yeah.
That's on my list.
It's
on my list.
Did you go to what park did the Blue Jays play in again? What's it called?
Is it called the Rogers Center or something?
Yeah, Rogers Center. Yeah, but it's like, isn't it like CENTRE?
Yeah.
Like how they. Yeah. You ever been there, Cody? Is that where you went?
I've been there, but I haven't been to their ballpark.
Okay.
Long story short, there was a female there. That's all I got for you. That was a while back. I was like
traveled internationally.
I was how old? I was like 20. Yeah, I was 20. Yeah, my first beer at a bar in Canada. Because the age there is like 20, not 21. It was either 19 or 20.
Moving to Canada.
Very long story on why I was there, but we can save that for another day.
I got Australia too.
Come on. Are people making it up at this point? People are just making it up because we read their name. Like, this has got to be total BS at this point. We've got Australia.
Aussie Cub.
Aussie Cub.
Couldn't be lying.
I believe that one.
Really has the comment, though, of the night, or morning, I should say. 43 people after midnight on a weeknight after a loss, 18 games under 500 before we lose 2 of our only all-stars.
It's different here.
That is
when you put it that way.
So true.
We're covering half the globe at this point with people claiming to be where they're from. Somebody's got to be lying out there. Someone's not telling the truth. What else happened in this game?
Well, I'll tell you what didn't happen
for you guys. In a perfect world, where would Christopher Morel play most of his games for you?
Well, for me, I mean, he's had some moments at second where you're like, what is he doing? but also he's had some really nice plays too. I think he's been okay out in center.
But you assume Brendan Davis takes that eventually, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say third base. I was gonna say
Yeah.
third base because
Yeah.
in your perfect world, I guess that's in the Cubs' perfect world or whatever too. The Cubs go out and get one of those shortstops in free agency, bumps Nico Horner over to second, and then you'd have Brennan Davis come up, Suzuki obviously, Nelson Velasquez sticks around, and then you only got a few other places to put Morel. And third base would be one of them that I think he could play at a high level. Or he's just a guy that keeps bouncing around the field until whenever someone needs a breather. I don't know. That I would say if he was going to start at one position every game, would have to be third base for me.
Yeah,
In
I
a
think
perfect world.
that would be my opinion too. I think, it's the position he played the most in the minors. He's played a lot all over the field, but I think more than anything, he's played at third base in the minors. And I think, as you guys are all speculating, I think just the maneuvering of who you might want to add, where your big time prospects are that are, knocking on the door soon. I think that's probably just the easiest spot for him. I think, maybe second base would probably work too. But when you look at the free agents and like you said, Brendan Davis, even if you moved him to second full time, it's a little harder to look at third base and figure out what that answer is. If you want to make a big splash in the offseason, you could ask one of those guys to move over, but I don't think they're going to want to do that. So I think it's just easier to slot him in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, ideally, he is the guy that plays a bunch of different positions, right? Like, I get that. I'm just saying, where would most of them come? And that's why I think third is the position too. And if for some reason Wisdom gets traded here in the next week, you might see a lot of his games start to be there at third base, more than we've seen up to this point. I think if that happens, you might see a lot of his games over at third base.
I was getting ready to say that. I mean, I don't know how much longer they can play Schwindel like at this point, and that sucks because like again he's like easy to root for or whatever, but like in my whether it's my opinion or not, there has to be a point where they cut ties with him. And when they do that, I think that they should move Wisdom over to first, and him and Rivas can platoon or whatever. I mean, I think Rivas should stay on the roster just because of the youth, but I also don't think he should play every day. And at least Wisdom has the most power on the team. Like it makes sense to put him at first, and he's shown that he can play first before. So if you move Wisdom over to first, then yeah, that opens up a spot for Morel at third base more often. And then, play the rest of the year like that, or most of the rest of the season like that, and see where you're at the end of the year. And I don't know if Wisdom makes it past the deadline. I don't know. Like it's not like people were talking about him. You're not hearing his name in the rumors. I'm actually surprised by it. I mean, he's been very solid. I know, like the defense is there. He's got power. I know it had been a while since he'd hit a home run until tonight, but like so many teams are looking for like everything that he does. I know the strikeout rate's high, but I don't know.
He came up in like May of last year. So tonight was his 50th career home run. Like that's 50 homers in a little over, a year and a couple months. Like I would think that there would be a lot of teams that are interested in that, especially, normally his defense has been pretty good. I think solid at least at third base tonight, notwithstanding. So,
Well, he's got 18 homers this year. What team can't use somebody that's got some pop that you could then leave in the game and not be worried about them defensively? Again, yeah, sure, he made a bad error in this game. It was a terrible play, but it happens to every player. He is not a bad third baseman. He's I would say above average third baseman.
And he's moved around. Played the outfield, played first base last year. Like how good he is at those positions, we don't really know, but you can stick him somewhere.
Right.
Yeah, and there is also when we talk about him striking out less, obviously the last couple months, strikeout rates come down, not anywhere close to like league average, I don't think, but it's down from where it was. There was one at bat. I don't think it was a home run at bat, but there was one. I remember Alex Wood threw a high fastball, like out of the zone, up in the zone, like it was clearly a ball, and he kind of thought it was a strike, but it very obviously wasn't. And I see the placement of it. I can go back and try to find it. I saw the placement of it and where the pitch was, and I'm thinking like prior to this last couple months, Patrick Wisdom probably would have struck out on that pitch. A high fastball like last year, that was like his Achilles heel was the high fastball.
Yeah.
And he didn't strike out on it, obviously. And I think he's been doing that a lot less lately. I know he's talked about just like making simple things, like just really focusing on seeing ball out of hand and avoiding swinging at top of the zone, which seems like, oh, if it's so easy, why don't you do it, right? Like, but he has done that. He has struck out on that less. And that was just one example for me tonight. But it's like if a guy can make adjustments like that, especially this late in his career, on top of the power he brings, like that home run that ball was like low and away like that. I don't know how he pulled that one, but like just stuff like that is like maybe he's not going to get you the most value of anyone out there. So, there's other hitters, better hitters that could get you more. But if he does get traded, there's probably teams out there that could use someone like a bat like him at somewhere in the order or somewhere off the bench, because he has improved at the plate. On top of just hitting home runs, like he's still a good power hitter, still has slug, but he's improved in different areas in the plate. And maybe some teams recognize that.
He's one of those guys, though, like especially for a lot of the reasons that you're laying out. Like, I'm not sure if I would look to move him unless you were getting something particularly interesting. Like, he doesn't cost you anything, which is something that this organization prioritizes at the moment. And like, you can move him around, even if you do make a big splash. Like, I think he fits. I always go back to when he first came up, and that team was competitive last year. They needed that influx of power, and he was huge for them when some of those guys weren't hitting. They were going through some slums, KB, Javi, Rizzo, or whatever. Like, Patrick came in and was just launching bombs, and I think they were out in San Francisco, like one of those series when he first started doing that. So he's one of those guys where like maybe if you put him in a deal like a reliever and it helps to like sweeten what you're getting in return, but if they're just going to get some throwaway prospect or a player to be named later, like I don't know,
Right.
that doesn't seem worth it to me. And I like what you said, Cody. Like if you do want to have him play first a little more, try Morel at third. Hopefully we see Matt Mervis, I think, at some point playing first base. But you can move those guys around between Mervis, Rivas, Wisdom, cover first base, Morel and Wisdom cover third in the second half, and see what sticks for next year. I think that's a pretty solid plan.
Yeah. It's just a very like I'm getting ready to say this because I was in this like wild ass freaking like Twitter space today where it was full of mainly Cubs fans who were like supporting the rebuild and not spending. And what I'm going to say is like if the Cubs plan on competing in 2023, whether they trade Ian Happ and Wilson Contreras or not, if you keep Patrick Wisdom, we've all sat here on the show and said that he can be a very nice role player. He's not going to be a guy who can carry your team, but he provides power. He provides very solid defense. He can play all across the field. Again, not going to be a guy who he should not be leading your team in home runs at the end of the year. He should not be doing that, but he can be a very nice piece. And again, the Cubs aren't paying him anything. So, I know he's streaky. Like he goes through stretches where you're like, how is this guy on this roster? And then he goes through hot streaks. In a way, it's kind of Javi-esque, except he's just not flashy and he's not nearly as talented as Javi Baez, but he has some of the same qualities, or maybe not qualities, but flaws of Javi Baez. And but there's still good things about him as a player too. So like for me, who wants this team to be trying to compete next year, I would not be upset if they keep Patrick Wisdom. But if the White Sox want a freaking power bat bad enough, like, and they want to send us Oscar Colas, then sure. Like, do I want to send them Ian Happ? No, but like if they need a power bat bad enough, then yeah, they can take Patrick Wisdom for their number 2 prospect. like that.
I
And
don't
I
think they're
know
looking for righty power bats.
I think Moncada got hot after Luke
He did.
riled
I
everybody
sparked
up
him.
with that trade, didn't he?
Yeah. I sparked him. He was
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
oh no, I'm about to
He had the
trade
chip
him.
on his shoulder.
Yeah. And I know that's not like a serious trade, but I'm just saying, like, if someone really is desperate for like a bat, like if someone gets hurt or something, maybe, but I just at this point I just don't see them trading him if they want to compete next year. And you all know how I feel about that. So
I agree. I'm starting to agree that I don't think he will be traded unless they get just like really surprised by an offer. I don't think it's just going to be trade to trade because, like Corey was saying, he doesn't cost you anything and he does a couple of things well. He hits for power, he has versatility in the field, and he plays pretty good defense. So that, you're trying to collect good players. Is he a piece of the next great Cubs team? Probably not. But that doesn't mean he doesn't fill a roster spot for a little while until you figure out who's going to take that position. And maybe Christopher Morel going to third base would start that process a little bit faster unless he adjusts to another position. Another guy that's similar to that is PJ Higgins. Like, Higgins is actually a pretty good athlete. Like, he can play some different positions too, like Wisdom. Now he just doesn't have the bat that Wisdom has. So
he has a decent bat, but he doesn't he doesn't have the power.
He doesn't have. He's not 18 homers.
Right.
Like,
I think David Snyder.
I think if you played him every day like Wisdom's playing, I don't think he'd have 18 homers.
Yeah, I mean, David Snyder was in the chat earlier. I don't know if he's still here, but he said something about why, about how Gomes just plays more than or catches more than Higgins. And it's like I think you have to play Gomes more so for defensive purposes and being able to call a game. The players have highlighted that a lot when they were raved about that a lot, right? So I understand why they play Gomes, but I assume after Contreras is traded, we're going to see a ton of Higgins, whether it's at catcher or first base or third base. So,
and I'm okay with the Gomes thing too. Like, you're trying to develop those young pitchers right now. Give them something that is like supportive to them. It's like we talk about, with the Bears, Justin Fields. Well, how are they helping Justin Fields? They have no wide receivers. They have no offensive line. You want your young pitcher to go back there being up on the mound, being confident that the guy behind home plate is going to call a good game, tell you what to do at the right time, and have your back. And so that in that way, I understand playing Gomes right now because the games don't matter, but the development of these young pitchers does matter. Now, they're not going to say that out loud, but that might be the approach they're quietly taking. Real quick, if you enjoy CHGO, one way to help us continue to grow is download that PointsBet app. Use the code CHGO when you sign up. Not only you get 2 risk-free bets up to $2,000, but if you make a $50 or more first-time deposit, you get a free CHGO membership, which unlocks all of our web content from Ryan. And you'll even get a free shirt of your choice from the CHGO locker. I believe Corey is wearing one of those tonight. If you have any questions, email pointsbet@allchgo.com and we'll help you out. And in case you missed it, online sign-up is available in Illinois. You can download that PointsBet app right now, register your account, start to finish, all from your phone, and you're signing up with the fastest sports book. It's easier than ever, so you can start living your bet life in seconds. So what are you waiting for? Once the game starts, don't just bet. Live your bet life with PointsBet. Gambling problem, call 1-800-522-4700. It is 12:37 in the morning on Friday, and we still got a pretty good chat going.
Yeah. I was going to say, Cody, Matthew Gregory in here, you might like him. He said Yan Gomes has more trade value than Yadier Molina.
He's trying. I do love that comment. He said something earlier about how he's trying to get me to follow back. I don't even know his handle, so he's going to have to.
Yeah, Matthew, what's your handle? Next comment.
Yeah. I'll follow you back if you're going to slander Yachty or Molina in this chat. I'll do that.
You guys will get along great.
Marcus Stroman goes in game 2 of this series, and I guess we've thrown around the idea, maybe not too hard, about the idea of possibly trading Marcus Stroman. Is everybody in this Foursquare against trading Marcus Stroman?
Not even against. I just don't. There's there's no scenario I can really see in my mind that it's going to happen. So I'm not like against trading him. Just not no. I don't see a scenario that they trade him. I don't see it unless they get a package that they can't. That he's not, in my opinion, he's not on the trading block. Like that, people would have to come to
Right.
Jed, call him up, see, make Jed an offer that he can't. That
But
works
that's
for
what
him.
they're doing, right? Like teams are looking at like
I
who's
don't-
bad and has somebody that we might be able to use in the post. Like Marcus Stroman is on a bad team.
Yeah, but I just don't see that being a trade. That it's not like how they got Drew Smiley 1 year
Yeah.
mutual option, Wade Miley 1 year 10 mil. Like he's a 3 year, was it $70 million contract, something like that. Like I don't see it happening. I don't see a scenario that he's not on the Cubs on August 3rd.
Listen,
You can't do that.
if you
Can't
if
do it,
they
Corey?
if they
You can't.
Go
If
ahead.
first of all, his value is not great, right? Because his peripherals are pretty good, the underlying numbers. But he's been up and down. He's had an injury. He was sick, so the value is not going to be there. I think every team should always listen on everybody, right? For years, if people wanted to back up their entire farm system for Mike Trout, the Angels should field the call, right? So field the call, but you can't do that because, to me, of what that would signal, right? You asked a guy to come here. You probably sold him on a particular vision. And if we're dumping guys that we're signing, this is an even worse situation than I think we all thought it was. Jed, that would definitely be one of those, it's not a rebuild, right? Like you're bringing in high tier free agents just to sell them off. You can't do that. Yeah, unless if somebody calls you, blows you away, sure, listen, but for a lot of reasons. First of all, you need pitching next year. Somebody's got to be in this rotation.
Yeah.
Besides Keegan Thompson and Justin Steele. But the optics of that would be horrific. Just absolutely worse than anything we've seen this organization do so far.
You want to talk about the PR nightmare this organization is going to have when they trade off Ian Happ and Wilson Contreras. If they trade off Marcus Stroman, and you want maybe say they just fucked around and traded Christopher Morel too, like
I saw that in the chat earlier.
Anything like that will make the PR nightmare like 10 times worse.
No chance.
And it also just would not make any sense.
No.
Would not make any sense. No. And that's not me just saying that because I want this team to be trying to win next year. And I'm not saying trying to win the World Series, but try to win the division. That absolutely makes no sense. This team right now, given how bad they are, they actually look like they at least have half their rotation next year with Stroman, Steele, and Thompson. Like, and that's not like, I don't think that's a weird or bad or hot take. I think when Stroman has been healthy outside of April, he's been pretty good. And the only reason he hasn't been healthy was because he got COVID. And then he came back too fast. It's not even like he went out there and like hurt himself. That's literally what happened from my understanding. Ryan, correct me if I'm wrong. But like,
that's what you're told.
So I'm not even worried about Stroman being like injury prone. You know what I mean? And Steele and Thompson have been ascending over the last 2 months. So like if Stroman has a strong second and you have Thompson and Steele continue to do what they do, as in just continue to grow, add more pitches, whatever, you know how things have been working, then I feel like you can feel good with them somewhere in that rotation. I'm not saying they should be your number 1, 2, and 3 start. I'm just saying they should be in that. And like I just feel like that means that, or shows that you have something. So to even consider trading Stroman when he's, like I said, been out and he's been up and down, like Corey said too, like it just doesn't make sense to me. So
yeah, and there's also the fact that when they promised to be competitive, the Cubs would be competitive in 2023. Marcus Stroman was one of the big guys they went out and got, right? With Stroman and Suzuki were the big free agent signings. If you sign Marcus Stroman to a 3-year contract, and he was supposed to be competitive this year, you trade him away going in the next year, and then what does that kind of signal? It kind of signals where are you going to go to be competitive in 2024 then if this guy's not around? Like this is supposed to be probably one of your top 2 pitchers. He was supposed to be at this year, probably supposed to be the same thing next year. And if you're trading him away, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing to replace a guy that's supposed to be a top two, at least top three starter in your rotation? How can you say he'll be competitive if you trade away a guy like that? So I mean, that's
Luke
again,
really kind of riled everybody up with that
Well,
one.
I don't disagree with
Got
that.
us
But what
going.
would be
Got us
stranger, signing a guy for 3 years and then putting out a completely not competitive team out there to go around with him? That makes no sense. And currently, that looks like they're on pace to potentially do it somewhat next year, unless they roll out the wheelbarrows of cash and go get somebody, which finally would make people happy. But if they have an off season, if this next offseason is similar to the last offseason and there's not some massive free agent coming, then fans are going to look at it and go, why did you even pay the guy? Was that he doesn't put fans in the seat necessarily. He's a really good pitcher. He's not a superstar, like people were excited about him, but he only plays every 5 days. So
Yeah.
For me, Christopher Morel is way less likely to, people were asking about Morel. Morel's way less likely to be traded than Marcus Stroman in my eyes, because he's so young. He is a part of building towards the future. Now, his major league career might not be anything like what Marcus Stroman's is, but I don't think Stroman's getting traded. I'm just saying I wouldn't rule anything. I wouldn't rule anything out. If somebody really goes begging for him, I don't think the Cubs know that they would not trade him. I think it's a possibility.
I think the state of this I think this is sort of representative of like kind of the sad state of affairs that things have kind of gotten to, because like someone like Morel, there's a 0% chance he gets traded unless the Cubs decide to enter the sweepstakes for someone like Juan Soto or something crazy. They're not trading a 23-year-old that's doing this. That doesn't make any sense. Stroman, I think, is emblematic of like what's going on here, because people just don't trust them, right?
Mm-hmm.
They don't trust what they're doing. They don't know what they're doing, right? Like Cody, you talk all the time about the transparency from the front office, and it does allow questions like that to at least be asked. And, would they trade Stroman? I kind of like scoff at the idea, right? But am I sure they wouldn't do it?
No
Do
way.
I know what they're doing? I have no idea.
Corey, I said it the second they signed him. It looks like they're signing a guy that they can say will certainly pitch in playoff games. But I can also cynically look at it and say, well, if you're not sure what Miley and Smiley are going to get you in returns, and if you've already talked to the guy about it and said, listen, if we're not winning, we'll get you to a winning team if that's what you want.
Right.
And we might, they're not into this. They're not into this when it comes to Jason Hayward, but if you ate just a little bit of the contract, now you might get somebody's top line prospect if you start eating some cash and give them a guy that's under control for a couple of years.
Yeah.
I mean, they're trying to do different things. I'm not saying that's what they're doing with Stroman. I'm just saying I can't rule it out anymore.
They deserve to have these questions asked. They've earned this sort of uncertainty.
Yeah, I think it's, in my opinion, it's less than 50% chance that he gets traded.
Yes.
We'll go with that. Like I'm still leaning towards he's on the Cubs, 5:01 p.m. on August 2nd. Like, he's still on the Cubs.
But is it less than 20%, Ryan?
Probably not. I mean, I just like we'll go 80-20. We'll go 80-20.
Yeah,
I think we got a super chat.
There's a chance, but it's not a big chance.
Yeah, we should this 99-cent super chat from Matthew Gregory. He didn't put the comment in there, but he said for Stuckey making it to almost 1 a.m. So shout out you.
Do we have to fill 12 more minutes just so I can officially make it to 1 a.m.? No.
I think so.
No.
You know what I would trade Marcus Stroman for, though? Like, throw him and a few prospects for Shohei Ohtani. Like, you want to talk about everything we said about Juan Soto this week. Shohei Ohtani is the one that I would shell out for, because that guy can do it all. Literally can do it all.
It's less guaranteed time on his contract. They could have whatever they wanted. Yeah.
Yes.
They can take whatever they want.
I mean, Morel would, if they want Morel,
whoever they want, take all of them.
Morel's untradeable. Morel's not untradeable for sure.
If I could go to beautiful historic Wrigley Field to watch Shohei Ohtani strike out 12 guys and hit a bomb onto Sheffield.
Yeah.
Take whatever you want.
Well, they want
do it.
Steele and Stroman, and maybe they want Keegan Thompson too, and then PCA.
Half the system. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah.
We'll drive them. We'll get a CHGO bus and drive them to O'Hare. You got it.
I will say that the fact that rumor came out tonight was pretty funny, because then I read the article about it, and all it is full of quotes from executives saying that the likelihood of it happening is very, 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 very slim, and that I guess one executive said that the Angels want the top 4 prospects in your system, and hey, to me that's worth it.
I don't blame them.
Yeah, like it's worth it, but I just don't think it does make the deadline even more interesting that the Angels are fielding calls for it, especially with Juan Soto being talked about.
I mean, it's very different. They're obviously extremely different players, but part of the difficulty with Ohtani is similar to kind of what we were just talking about with Stroman, which is like, how does the organization justify this? Right?
Yeah.
What are the optics of this? Even the Angels are terrible. Right. They can't win with 2 generation stars. But how do you justify getting rid of it? You know, the Nationals, justifiably so, are getting ripped for what they're doing with Juan Soto because it's pathetic. Yeah. Stroman is not in that tier, but it would still raise those exact same questions of like, what on earth are we doing here, guys?
I think the Nationals, the Soto thing is the way that it is because the Nationals are trying to, like, the owner is trying to sell, right? Or, you know, and I don't know. I
think a lot of our YouTube comments would enjoy the Cubs entering into that process as well.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, the team can do that? They can change owners?
Yeah, they can change owners.
What Corey was saying is hilarious. It's like we're talking about Stroman and we're talking about Morel. We're like, no way, you're not trading. Like, these other teams are talking about trading the 2 of the 3 best players in all of baseball.
Yeah.
I like to think, Luke, in my, naivete, that the Cubs are not completely the joke of the league, right? They have some integrity left to sign players like that and keep them. But
that's the thing about the Angels that we always talk about, right? Is like they have these 2 generational talents that can't win. They were good with them for what, a month and a half or 2, something like that, and then that
played in 1 playoff game, right?
Yeah,
game.
Yeah,
like it's wild, but I don't know. Like I've always thought that the problem with the Angels is they just can't get the pitching. You know what I mean?
It's the tungsten arm O'Doyle tweet. That, I mean, it's the truth. It's the truth of the Angels.
He did that tonight. They lost 2-0 tonight. He struck out like 11 guys.
Yeah.
Or, set some record. They lost 2-0.
They need John Lackey. That's what the Angels need. John Lackey.
A bulldog
here to win.
Yeah.
Anything else you guys want to talk about before we wrap it up? I can't make it to 1. 8 more minutes is too much for me.
Well, Luke, I don't know if we have the picture, but I did like your question of, which coach, giving the middle finger or some sort of gesture was.
Who wore it best?
Who wore it best?
Is it
the
famous
most
shot of Ditka giving the finger at Old Soldier Field? Is it, Joe Quenneville grabbing his crotch in a playoff game? Is it Ozzie Guillen was caught giving the bird once, or now we've got a double bird from David Ross? I don't remember.
To a mystery person.
Yes, a mystery person.
I think it's Ditka. I think Ditka had more swag.
Ditka will always be the most famous one.
Yeah.
But
people, the sunglasses, the suit.
People have that picture like framed and like on their desks at their job. You know what I mean? Like that. Like he's just like I don't understand it because I wasn't alive in '85, but like people just love Ditka despite all of like his flaws that he has as a person.
I need to know, like, how did you make a GIF of that? Like I saw the GIF hit and it's like, the little short video that keeps replaying. I know what a GIF or a GIF is, but I don't know how it was made so quickly. And then I tried to copy her so I would have it in my phone.
Can't do it off Twitter.
Can't do it, yeah.
Or you have to send it to us.
I can send it to you.
2 different fingers, but it wasn't working.
Send it in the Slack channel. Yeah.
It's I screen record it, and then there's just websites where you put it in there and it spits out a GIF.
Yeah, you can like transform it.
I can't reveal my trade secrets. You know what I mean? Do you want me to tell people how to make funny memes? I mean, then what would I be doing
It's
here?
supposed to be a team.
Good magician never reveals his secrets. I have something I want to talk about.
Oh, do we have to?
Conveniently, we're forgetting about who you got.
Oh,
We've conveniently
Oh, did we
got
skip
all the way
that?
to the
Did we
end of the
skip-
show.
Time, everybody. We gotta
Did we
go.
skip?
Thanks.
yeah.
Well, it
yeah,
looks
yeah.
like
on the
we're up
screen.
at
Come on,
exactly 1
Joey.
hour.
Come on, Joey, get it on the screen. Let's do this.
Joey fell asleep an hour ago. There he is.
There it is. Look at that. Ian had
Hide my
3
shame,
hits,
Joey.
one of the 2 runs.
I mean, that's one of the sorriest who you got wins ever. I was totally, until he got the second hit, which was not even he threw his bat in anger over it. I was like, are we going to give 1 hit?
I had
Breaking up a no hitter in the
I had a
7th
walk.
inning?
I had a walk.
But then they get caught stealing also.
Yeah, you got caught stealing, trying to steal third in that first inning.
My guy hit one hard to second.
Yeah.
Hey,
That first inning really did like kind of kill all the momentum that the Cubs had at all. We didn't even really talk about that, but whatever.
It's okay.
The first 2 guys on, and then just nothing get thrown out at third and strike out, fly out, I think is what happened. Yeah.
Well, I'd like to thank my fans out there, always having my back, supporting me. It's a good win. I told you there's a lot of game left in the season. Cody, what are the standings? Do you have them?
I don't have them up,
handy?
but I think you're tied with Luke now.
We both have like 10, maybe.
Here, I'm bringing it up.
Ryan's got the cigarette ears in too. I didn't realize that. Yeah, I see that now.
Yeah, it is 16 to 12 to 12.
Ooh, look at that.
16 to 12.
With Kevin having 1. Yes.
The mad dash to 20.
Corey, Kevin has more than you do?
And Jared.
I'm going over. I think.
On the season?
I think I'm gonna go over. I'm like the beginning of John Lester's hitting career, just all zeros. But if it stayed on that trajectory, I'm gonna be really good next year.
Yeah,
so.
he's gonna work on that swing. He's
Yeah.
gonna get that swing down. It's gonna be real beautiful. It's gonna be better. Than Jason
I'm gonna
Hayward.
start picking guys that nobody cares about. So apologies to the Jan Gomes and Frank Schwindels of the world, but you're getting who you gotted by me.
That's
So,
right.
Offers for everybody.
I never forget that one time that Ryan said to David Ross, "You screwed me on who you got."
Don't even want to talk about that one anymore. That's just so Crook had it.
Maybe that's what it was. Maybe that was the double barrel reaction. It was Ryan texting David Ross, "Hey, don't screw up who you got tonight." And he went to the camera, bam, double barrel to you, Herrera.
Maybe he knew I was watching. He probably knew I was watching.
All right. Well, thanks to everybody for staying up with us, especially on the chat.
The best fans in the world. Best fans in the world.
We made it.
Right
All over the world, Luke.
I'm not here to like tell people how to cub because Stuckey has said his 2 cents on that. But I think that at this point we all just have to stop being mad about about the wins and losses. And there's just so many people in the chat who are still getting mad about wins and losses. And if I'm done being mad about wins and losses, then I mean I think that's I feel like I just need to let everyone know that like it's okay. It's okay.
How many games do we have left?
I did the math earlier, like 64 something like that.
64 games?
Yeah.
Hang in there, everybody.
The race for 63 it's actually, I feel like we still have a shot. We have a shot here.
Yeah, it's going to be that's going to go right down to the bitter end, I think.
Yeah, that 6-game winning streak helped, man.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
It boosted the pace to 63 a little bit.
Yeah.
We'll see.
And we'll see. Hopefully, we get a few more in there before that deadline, and maybe that August won't be as bad as we all think. I don't know.
Hey, maybe the Cubs get another Frank Schwindel 2.0 this year.
Well, what's his name? Crook down in Iowa. He's probably going to be up. He's mashing down there. Mervis, maybe. Jackson Frazier. He should be on this roster after the deadline. You'd think. And then
Jason Hayward's working his way back.
Don't say that. Don't say that. That will.
Nick Madrigal. The chat loves Nick Madrigal. He's coming back.
Oh yeah,
he needs to play. He has to play. But
he could be the second half All-Star.
He had a double today.
Yeah. I what's his name? Alex Cohen keeps tweeting about Nick Madrigal and how he's getting hits down there. So
There you go.
hey, whatever.
Remember last time he
we
flew
need
out to the
something.
warning
Good for
track.
him.
That's right. Yeah, took one to the morning track.
Took one to the morning track.
All
So,
right, let's
knows?
wrap it up. 4-2, Cubs lose, winning streak's over. Double barrel from David Ross. And that's it for the CHGO Cubs post-game show. Presented by PointsBet. Don't forget to use that code CHGO when you sign up to get those 2 risk-free bets up to $2,000. Cody Del Mendo, Cody_CHGO. Corey, what is yours? Corey_Cubs.
Yes, sir.
Ryan_A_Herrera. And I'm Luke Stuckmeyer. And we will see you next time. Take care. Fly the W. And again, as soon as one of these big trades breaks, come on back here. We're going to jump in and we'll be chatting all in misery together. We'll see you then.